Well, we got a special session or a regular session?
It's a regular meeting.
Regular
But
meeting.
we got lots of awards.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Madison County School Board regular session meeting. Mr. Heath Jones, do you mind praying over the meeting, sir?
Absolutely. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to gather this evening. Thank you for the beautiful day that you gave us. I ask that you be with this board, members of our central office as we conduct business on behalf of our students and families in Madison County. I ask that you be with us as we leave here this afternoon and let us arrive safely to our families this evening. In your blessed name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Superintendent?
Mr. President, I recommend approval of the agenda dated May 15th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the minutes dated April 4th, April 8th, and April 17th, 2025.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor? All those in favor? Aye. Madison County School System recognitions, Mr. Superintendent.
We'll start with the district highlights, sir.
Yes. So, we have two in my area. Miss Glenn from Meridian Middle, the STED train, is it an award or it goes with STEM? That's
Yes,
what they
it's a
explained to
grant.
me, so.
It's for science technology.
They tried to make me look smart. She received it for 4th through 8th. She was honored with that award, correct? It doesn't say award, but
Right.
it was an award. And then Miss Hodge from Hazel Green High was honored with it for 9th through 12th. We've got great things going on in our districts, and if you don't see it, you got your eyes shut. I spent some time with some principals in my area yesterday. I don't see any of them. Yes, I do. And just the conversation of what's going on is just phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about what's going on in our district. So thank y'all for that.
Yeah, I just want to echo nobody specific, but there's just a lot going on in the stuff year. We all know everybody's been counting down days for, I don't know, the month of May for you teachers and stuff too. But coming off last week, Teacher Appreciation Week, you know, you can make posts, you can bring the donuts and stuff, but that will really never, you know, for us as a school board members, we can never really say thank you enough. I want you to know that I can speak for me only, but I think everybody else that any issues that we can ever come to try to advocate for you, to make Madison County the best school system, you know, in North Alabama. We're here for it, you know, so I thank you, not just my district, but district-wide. I want
Yes.
to say thank you for what you do. You know, there's, especially in the Buckhorn cluster right now, I've tell everybody, I've taken the beat off everybody, but somebody made a good comment on the old Facebook, you know, I know that's a issue of getting on there, you know, as a board member, you read all the stuff, and everything we do is our faults, but somebody made the comment of basically the sum of, you know, the few little negative things that are going outweigh all the good things going on. And, you know, some of the investment that you teachers and administrators, the support staff, everybody, the difference that you're making, you know, you may not be able to see the difference now, but when those kids come back and you see they're successful. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm a product of this district, you know, and the people I can look back, the teachers that invested in my life, that made the difference. So I thank them for what they did, and I thank each of you for what you continue to do day in and day out.
I had a lot of administrators make differences in my life, so we won't go there. But anyway, if you know, you know.
Yeah, I'll echo what they're saying, but I do appreciate all the teachers on Teacher Appreciation Week, and had some softball, got to make it down to state. Madison County High School, they got beat out right there at the end, but they did good, and New Hope did good, and the little Central team was looking good, so I'll pass it on to Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't really have anything specific because we've got some items here later on in the agenda, but just to highlight Sparkman High School softball, they got beat yesterday, but came in third in the state, but had a fantastic season. Enjoyed watching them, and hopefully we can get back down to state next year and be more successful and bring home a blue map. So, Mr. President, that's all I have.
I will have to go back and say this. The teams that we got beat by, those girls on the softball teams are going to big colleges. I mean, we had to play against some pretty tough players, almost college girls. So, but I'll say that. But Mr. Bird?
I want to echo what everybody said as we reach the end of May. I want to make a special prayer for our students during the summertime. And you know, God, please watch over our students and their families as they go on summer break. Watch them and guide them to make decisions that promote their citizens. Amen.
Mr. Superintendent?
Board, I don't want to be bitter, but Mr. Rogers showed me a picture of the squeeze-off bunt that won the winning run against Sparkman the other night that the news had, and she was out by about 2 feet. So Thompson went on to win the state title. That could very well have been Sparkman High School, and it was a bad call, but I won't be bitter about that because this is sportsmanship. But I just wanted to say that we did get to see that proof.
So we did win.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, we still tied in the 8th inning, so.
Y'all sound like a bunch of Auburn fans.
All right, Dr. Curry, let's get back on track here with some academics. We have, Dr. Curry is here to present our National Board Certified Teachers this evening.
It's a real honor for me to get to do this evening. Of course, I'm loving seeing all our young people here too, and you have your honors too coming up. But I have a group of teachers that I would like to honor this afternoon. We have honored all of our teachers with our Teacher Appreciation Week, as they all should be. But we do have some teachers who go above and beyond, who work really hard for 1 to 3 years in receiving what we call National Board Certification. National Board Certification is the highest distinction of professional distinction of teachers, of teaching. So it's my honor in our system. I get the privilege of getting to work with teachers who are interested in this, and we have about 79 teachers. I say about because some retiring, that kind of thing, have a hard time keeping up with it. 79 teachers in our system who are National Board Certified. The group that I'm going to call on tonight to come up here in just a moment are our latest group of certified teachers. Their journey takes them from 1 to 3 years to accomplish all that has to be accomplished in order to get this certification. In May, we have a new group of about 30 right now that I have been working with this year that will hopefully be newly certified next year. They finish up in May. We do not hear the results until June. I'm sorry, December, not June. I wish it was December. They get the results in December. I like it. Pretty nervous waiting. So I'm going to recognize you by calling your name. Now, not everyone could be here tonight, but I'm still going to honor them by calling your name. Because, you know, there are days and some awards days, awards evenings at some of the other schools and that kind of thing. So, I'm going to ask you to come forward when I call your name. And if you'll remain up here, please, we're going to have a group picture of all of you. So we had some individuals in the front, but it's an honor and a privilege for me to be able to call your name as a new certified, National Board Certified teacher. Amanda Kennedy Angel. Go down that way. Come back a little bit. Anna O'Dell. Erica Moeller. be able to be here tonight, but again, I'm going to say their name just to make sure that we honor them. Melanie Cullen. Jenna Gillis. Tasha Knight. Stacia Rupp. Jessica Stapler. And Milton White. I'm sorry that none of them could be here, but we're really proud of them also. There's one other group that I chose to, for us to recognize. We have some teachers who got their certification in another system. They were serving another system. And luckily, they came to our system to be a part of our system. And so we want to welcome them to our system and also honor them for their National Board certification as well. Jill Bonds. Latoya Patton. Scott. Sarah Sattis. Appreciate it, and thank you all for taking your time to honor me. Thank you all at this time.
Better count instead of one that. Yeah, so I had a buddy say, you look like a convict that didn't have one.
I have to say, I don't think anybody else could have head up a better group than who we have heading this group up. Thank you for what you do, Ms. Curry. Did you not know how?
Mr. Rogers? We will now go to the athletics part.
Again, my name is Matt Rogers. I'm the District Athletic Director for the Madison County School System. We're here to recognize 3 schools tonight who have had state championships this year in various sports. I will say, tonight's kind of impressive. I think everybody who's present and is being recognized, this is one of multiple times that we've recognized them for state championship victory. So again, nobody's new to this that's here tonight being recognized. You know, all of these have been here either prior this year or, you know, last year. So we're going to start off with Leighton Pohl from New Hope High School. Unfortunately, Mr. Pohl had a family issue, wasn't able to come. But again, Leighton Pohl from New Hope High School, he had a 2025 season that many others and himself will remember for years to come. Leighton was the returning 2024 state champion at the 175-pound weight class and entered this season at the 190-pound weight class. Throughout the season, Leighton was the guy to knock off. Every time he stepped on the line, the opposition had one goal, giving Leighton his first loss. For 40 straight matches, they fell short. Leighton Pohl was 40-0 this year, including a state championship victory. He walked into the HSA state wrestling meet as the #1 ranked wrestler in the state and had hardly wrestled past the first 2 periods all season. At state, he had 3 matches, and in the first 2 matches, he dominated much like the regular season. When the final match was set, Leighton had a match that he had been looking forward to all year long. In the finals, he was matched with the #2 ranked wrestler in the state from Tallahassee High School. This was an epic finals match, going all 3 periods with both wrestlers leaving it on the mat. When the final whistle blew, Leighton's hand was raised, sealing the 2-time state title he'd worked hard for himself and New Hope High. We are very proud of Leighton and his individual accomplishments, as well as head coach Judd, assistant coach Fritz, and all of New Hope Wrestling for their hard work and dedication to the program. Again, unfortunately, Leighton couldn't be here. We recognized him last year in the 175-pound weight class. You know, Leighton is a 3-sport athlete. He plays baseball, football, and wrestles all at New Hope High School. He excels in all of them. He was the all-state returner for the New Hope High School football team. He's one of their top baseball players. Unfortunately, in this championship match, he injured his shoulder, which he had to have surgery on. He actually batted for New Hope High School until he had to have surgery and could no longer hold a bat. He couldn't play in the field, but he continued batting through that injury. So again, just an outstanding young man, outstanding athlete, again, also an outstanding student in the classroom. So again, want to recognize Leighton even though he couldn't be here tonight. Now, moving on to somebody else I've seen several times this year already with Hazel Green Track. And this is Mr. Bryce McCleary, who's here with us. Okay, after claiming the 6A boys cross-country state championship and also 2 indoor state championships in the 1,600 meter and the 3,200 meter respectively, Bryce McCleary entered the outdoor track season hoping to achieve the dream of so many distance runners, which is winning a state championship in cross-country, indoor, and outdoor track. During the recent outdoor track state meet, Bryce achieved the running trifecta. After an unfortunate turn of events during the last 10 meters of the 1,600 meter that saw him go quickly from fighting for a first place finish to finishing 4th, Bryce literally picked himself back up and came back the next day to win the 3,200 meter with a time of 9 minutes and 22 seconds. With that victory, he added an outdoor state championship to the list of 3 other state championships he had achieved already during the school year. What a thrilling way to end his high school running career. Again, Bryce won cross country in 6A, the 1,600 meter and the 3,200 meter in indoor. Won the 3,200 meter and was awful close in the 1,600 meter. Tripped up, correct? Just an unfortunate way to go down, but again, he was that close to just running the table completely. Committed to Auburn University for both cross country and track and field, Bryce has cemented his legacy in the history books of Hazel Green High School track and field with an impressive outdoor track season. He broke his own school records in the 1,600 meter by running a record-shattering time of 4 minutes 13 seconds, and in the 3,200 meter with a time of 8 minutes and 59 seconds. He finished the season ranked 7th in the state of Alabama in the 1,600 meter and ranked 4th in Alabama in the 3,200 meter. He was also a member of the 4x800 meter relay team that broke a school record this season by running a time of 8 minutes and 11 seconds. I'd also like to recognize head coach Raymond Gilstrap, who's here with us tonight, and also Coach Brittany Wood, who coached Bryce in cross country and was also the distance coach for indoor and outdoor track. But again, just an outstanding season for Bryce. I don't think you could ask for much better. Again, that 1,600 meter would be nice, but nothing to hang your head on that. But again, just an outstanding season. Best of luck to you next year at Auburn. I don't say this often, but I guess War Eagle. All right. Now we'll move on to Sparkman Outdoor Track, and again, unless I'm missing somebody on our 4x400 relay team, we've all been here before, correct? I think I saw y'all back at Christmas time. So sophomore, the first time. So again, we're racking them up with Sparkman Track and Field. We'll start ladies first over here, okay? Charity Collier is a household name in track and field. She has placed in the outdoor state meet each year since the 9th grade. This year was no different by winning the 7A discus with a throw of 138 feet and 9 inches. This mark is the best in the state by all classifications and 2 feet away from the HSA state record. Charity also placed second in shot put with a throw of 39 feet 11 inches. Charity will continue to shine next year during her senior year at Sparkman. Charity currently holds the school indoor record in shot put and the outdoor record in discus. And again, she's been recognized multiple times with us. I misspoke a couple weeks ago when I said that she won the state shot put, but that was last year, so I'm getting my years confused, I guess, on Charity. Moving on to our boys team here. So senior Joe Quez Keith had an outstanding state meet coming away with 3 gold medals. Joe won the 400-meter dash with a time of 48:08. On the final day of the competition, he won the Class 7A state championship in 300-meter hurdles with a time of 37:35. And 10 minutes later, he turned around and ran in the 200-meter dash finals, finishing 5th. He ended his day by being part of the state champion 4x400-meter relay, along with teammates sophomore Malachi Bozeman, senior Caleb Thompson, and senior Braden Good, setting a new meet record with a time of 3 minutes 15 seconds. The previous week, the 4x400-meter relay ran a 4:14, the second fastest time ever run in the state of Alabama. Joe will leave Sparkman holding a state indoor record with the 400-meter dash, the 60-meter hurdles, and the school indoor record in the 4x200-meter relay and the 4x400-meter relay. He also holds the school outdoor records in the 400-meter dash, the 300-meter hurdles, and the 4x400-meter relay. Braden and Caleb will graduate holding 2 indoor records in the 4x200-meter relay and the 4x400. They will also leave holding the outdoor school record in the 4x400-meter relay. Again, absolutely great season by the Sparkman High School track and field team.
And then they start the All right, gentlemen, you ready?
Informational items?
Yeah. Ms. O'Bannon, our 2024 audit report. Is Ms. April's here?
Good evening, everyone. My name is April Purser. I'm the audit manager for the State Examiners of Public Accounts. In accordance with the provisions of Act Number 2006-196, codified under Section 1613A7, and commonly referred to as the School Fiscal Accountability Act, I'm here tonight to present the audit report on the Madison County Board of Education covering the period October 1st of 23 through September 30th of 24. To let you know, we conducted our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards for the purpose of rendering an opinion on the financial statements and determining whether the board complied with applicable laws and regulations. We also conducted an audit on the board's federal financial assistance programs in accordance with these same standards and also the requirements of Title II, the U.S. Code of Federal Regulations, which is also known as the Uniform Guidance. We issued an unmodified opinion on the board's financial statements as of and for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024. This means that the financial statements are presented fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. In addition, we issued an unmodified opinion on the board's major federal financial assistance programs for which the fiscal year were audited this time were Title I grants and the local educational agencies and the for these and special Education Stabilization Fund, which you know as ESSER. We reported no findings in our report. So the opinion that we issued was the best opinion that we could issue for the audit. The entire report is available on our website at allison.legislature.state.al.us, and you can search under the Audit Reports tab to obtain a copy of this report. This concludes my presentation for the evening. I'd like to thank you and all your staff for the assistance and cooperation during the audit process, and we look forward to seeing you again later this year. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Mrs. O'Bannon and our finance department, another fantastic job by y'all. Really appreciate y'all, your hard work.
I will say, I want to say something because I would be remiss since since my last board meeting. Every year when this comes out, I say this is a team effort, and not only my fantastic finance team, which Gina and I lead the finance team, and I've got my payroll manager here tonight, Dawn McCoy, because her sister just became certified with the National Board, Certified Teachers, Faith Walker. So we're happy to have her. The best payroll manager in the state of Alabama, and best accounting supervisor in the state of Alabama. And it's a team effort, not only my team, but the cabinet and the supervisors and the department heads we've had in my 20 years serving the school district. We have never had an audit finding. And it is definitely a team effort with all these supervisors and cabinet members, the leadership team, and the finance team. And I'm so proud of you.
Ms. O'Bannon, I want to thank you for all the years of service you've done to this school system. And you say it's a team effort. You have been the person who chose the team. You set the standards, provided the motivation, and year after year, we get these superior results. And it is a team effort, but it's also the captain of the team.
On business, sir.
Administrative items?
Yes, sir. I recommend approval of the Criterion Consulting Professional Services Agreement as submitted.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I recommend approval of the Madison County Schools 2025-2030 strategic plan with the additional, that Ms. Bass has added the addendums and, or the additional statements.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion?
Yes. The strategic plan is a plan, and I've been quite open about my concern about the standards-based grading. I want to make sure you understand, I have called 25 teachers that I know personally and administrators regarding this, including teachers who have been serving in Athens, principals who served in Athens. I get a mixed review. I hear some things that are very strong about it, and I hear some things that are very weak about it. We have to be careful as we move forward and change. We don't want to develop what's called groupthink. Groupthink means that we all agree, and we all agree, and we all agree, and we don't analyze information and ask if this is right. Change can be positive, but change can also hurt a well-run school system. I note with pleasure that when it comes to our academics, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kubik, that we are always within the top 3 of our state standardized test scores for county systems. And we're very high. We do very well compared to many systems who are a lot less funded. So my hesitance to change is based upon consideration. I have some other things that I'll say, but I am open to change, but it's thoughtful change, not change for change's sake.
Do I have any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I recommend approval of the Madison County Schools 2025-2026 salary schedule. That includes a $1,000 raise for the employees that are listed in there, as well as the adjustment to a few of the supplements for for academic areas that include the steps like our athletic side has.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion?
I do. I would want to kind of voice my concern about kind of the process here, the time frame of everything here. We obviously have Mr. Smith, the new CSFO coming in, that's one of the concerns of just making a decision like this. That'll be, us as a board to hold us accountable to have this be sustainable for over a long period. I know there's been certain times about, money coming to us from certain extra funds for the state, or we can move around our general fund. And I want to say here, I think if you talk to me, anybody knows, and we can talk privately, and get my number or whatnot, that and I think I can speak for everybody on this board, pro teachers, doing all we can to help them. Not just money, morale boost, those little things to support you, as I said earlier in the statement. So I want you to, before I say anything, I want you to know that I'm not anti-teachers getting a raise, not anti-doing any of that. So know that, talk to me afterwards if you feel like, I'll come across that. So that's not the thing, but my thing is, when we go and we talk about certain things, like one of the recent topics for me in my district is we talk about units. Those principals having to let units go, teachers lose their job, this and that, and we try to advocate for certain things. For instance, one of the things I've talked about, and she's actually here tonight, I met her for the first time. I'd always heard great things about Miss Faith Walker and the job she's doing as an interventionist. And having to make those decisions, do we take somebody like her out of that position where we see the effects and then the difference that she's making, possibly having to move her around, for class size reductions and having this and that. So I feel like when we advocated before, I've been told in my short time, and I feel like it's been a kind of a common theme at times, and I'm not being negative to anything. I think the district is in a good spot financially. Thank you, like I said, echo what Mr. Bird said. Like, I've only been in here for about 5 months now, and I appreciate everything Ms. O'Bannon done, all the questions I've asked. She's been great to meet and answer that. But my thing is, when we go to advocate for this, it's a common thing of, we don't have money for this, we don't have local units for this, and so now all of a sudden, we as a board are gonna be held responsible if something happens in the years to come of, if we have to pull this back, or, so that's my concern, Mr. Superintendent, and we spoke privately and stuff, so, and I'm not saying we don't do it, we don't move forward, but I think, first off, as I said, with, a new CSFO coming in, I think out of respect to him, to be able to look at certain these things, we have to ask the question, is it sustainable, from here on out? Because the last thing that we ever want to do for our teachers is to give something, have to retract it back. I think there's other options we can look at. Now, like I said, this is just stuff, a game plan we can look at in the future of how do we help, certain things with personal leave. Teachers now, certain many years, they have to pay that third, fourth, and fifth year. Like, we could do things as a district. So there's all kind of things that I think if we table this, sit back and kind of say, hey, what can we do to get the best rate of return on this? So that's my, I know there's been a motion in a second. That's my recommendation, or that's my feedback for discussion is, pass the supplement thing. I think everybody's all agreed that, these ones I think on page 16 or whatnot have been behind, move forward with that. But I think out of all the concerns that I've had issues with kind of moving forward with this, that would be my discussion part of that is, I've said we don't do nothing. There's incentives, things that we can look at. That's kind of been done in the past. I just want to get the best rate of return to help our teachers out, for our school district, and everything's in the years to come. So I want everybody to know in this room, you can email me, get my message, we can talk privately, so you know that where my heart is for teachers to help you guys. But at the same time, I want to make sure we make a wise decision to get the best rate of return.
Do I have any, go ahead.
Mr. Jones, just so you're aware, the personal leave, as they attain longevity with us, they earn the third one for free, and then the fourth one for free, and the fifth one for free. So eventually, they get all 5 for free.
Yeah, I know that there's certain years that they have to make to meet that, so there's things that we can adjust. We could pull those instead of waiting 5 years or 8 years or 12 years. There's certainly ways that we could do. I feel like that's one, say, for a fraction of the cost that we could do. So, we can talk about all those details, and I'm not saying that they didn't. And I'm commending you for wanting to take care of teachers. I'm not trying to throw a negative light on anybody in this situation. All I'm asking is we look at the whole thing, especially with the transition of a new CSFO coming in, just tabling it for a month, 2 months, talk about all the things to make sure we're getting the best rate of return. So,
Mr. Jones, so your primary issue with this agenda item is that our new CSFO has not reviewed it. Is that correct?
Right. I think when you go in there and we're trying to put a budget together for the next year, I just think, are we really hurting anything if we wait a month to do this, or if we wait 2 months to do this? That's my one of the things, yes.
Well, I will say this, you know, when we make the decision to change the salary schedule, that's $2.5 million every year. And on a lean year, it scares me a little bit. You know, are we gonna have to pull, I mean, I made the comment, I know it's not true, but I made the comment yesterday, and she's here so she can back me up. I don't wanna not be able to pay our light bill, you know? And I know that's a little far-fetched, but, you know, you don't wanna lose a teacher unit, you don't wanna lose because of this. I think $1,000 is kind of a slap in the face for what they do. But I would like to see them get a raise for sure. I do want to make sure that we can sustain it. So, and that's our job as stewards, is to look at things like this. So,
Where will the money come from next year?
Talking with Ms. O'Bannon, the growth that we're experiencing will be able to cover the 2.5 million moving forward.
Additional property taxes.
from where?
Is there,
The growth.
is there a cap on that coming in the future or something, though?
7%.
Yeah, but that's 7% every year. They just can't go up over that.
The legislature has done some things I agree and disagree with, but one of the nice things they've done is they've established these funds that will prevent proration. So these 90-day funds. So if the state basically says they're gonna give us this much money this year, unless something happens, drains those funds, we should be that good for a long, long period of time.
Well, that recent legislation actually hurts our district, does it
It
not?
does.
It caps us at 7%. We're
Yes.
normally bringing in, what percentage, Ms. O'Bannon?
We've been bringing in 15% the last 2
Yeah. Because I know that we had that conversation that the recent legislation was going to hurt our district. So,
But this year, we've experienced the 7%, and ours will stay right at 7%, because we will max out and get that. And what I've always said, obviously it's not my decision, Mr. Pivot asked me about sustainability. Obviously, I won't be here to manage, but we can do anything, and it wouldn't put a hardship on the school system. However, you have to prioritize in what's the most important thing. We can do anything, we can't do everything.
Right.
So that's why we have to prioritize and make sure this is what we want to do with our fund, our surplus right now, and I don't see the growth changing. You
Right.
see that around
Yeah.
us, with sales taxes, or, but you never know with the legislators what's gonna happen. And naturally, I can't say, because I won't be here managing the budget.
right.
But, I know the money is there, the future growth and sustain it, if this is the priority that we want to take, but again, I won't be the CFO.
Is there any way to make this we can't call it a bonus, I know, but is there any way to make this
One lump sum thing.
yes, because, I mean, I never was good at math except when I put dollar signs in front of it, and this has dollar signs in front of it. $1,000, what, by the time it gets to the check, it's gonna be $60 a month? I would love to see it go out as a December, or right there around Thanksgiving, as a incentive. I don't know how we could do it.
Those aren't legal,
Well,
state money.
Bonuses or not, but that's the thing too, and I'm not saying nobody, again, I wanna make sure that everybody's understanding me, is that, I'm not saying we don't do something, I'm just saying, let's look at what the best rate of return is, because I'll go back to my previous statement, I agree with what everybody said, is any other time we try to advocate, and that's my job, whether, and I understand, I've had conversations with certain people in central office, and they have a job to do as well. I get that, respect that too, but I have a job to advocate for the community, for my educators, for all sides of it. And then, so it just feels like, we advocate for this, and at times, we feel like there's no funds for this, or we'd have to do it for all. And so I'm just saying, take a little step back before we commit that kind of stuff, not that we don't do something, because I agree with Mr. Vess, from that time that teachers are paid on the last working day of December to the next time they're paid in January is a long time. You hear feedback from several that there's issues, so I would love to have something, like he said, end of November, sometime around that time frame to help. And then, you know, what other better way to have a, you know, second half of that for teacher appreciation, you know, on that Friday of Teacher Appreciation Week, you get that second part, so you feel like something tangible is coming in different, you know. So I'm thinking that there's all kind of ways or different ways to look at this stuff, and yes, we have to be ethically abide by state laws and all those things, as Ms. O'Bannon said, 100%. I'm just asking is, before we commit doing that every year, can we do something, whether it's a structure a little bit this here for the support staff or versus what we do for our teachers, so everybody is still getting something, but we get the best rate of return for the districts and get some feedback, you know, like I said, because I'm not speaking for an educator because I'm not one, but hearing back from them, you talked to somebody and they said, you know, instead of having $1,000, I'd rather have class sizes with 3 or 4 kids less, or I'd rather not lose our interventionists because we see the impact that they're making, or we not lose this or that. So that's all I'm saying. It's not that we do nothing, that we just take a step back, you know, and make sure it's sustainable and it's the best for the district in the long term.
Can we give a 13 check in the salary schedule instead of 12?
Are you talking about, so every year they would get additional money at Christmas, or are you talking about doing this one time?
Well,
Every year, if it allows, but I think it's something we'll have to associate with,
I think
you know,
once-
on a budget, you know.
once we put it in the salary schedule, it is every year.
Whereas if we do some kind of
Right.
incentive-based or something like that, then if it's a lean year, then it may be 5 years in a row, they get something. and-
Well, if I recall correctly, and I mean, we pay the state minimum salary plus some. Is that, and I think that plus some was established, I want to say in 2017 or 2018, about then.
Probably 13 or 14.
No, I thought it was more recent than that, Mr. Bird. I can't remember when we did the longevity pay. I think it was right before COVID.
Okay, 2000, so you know, what's happening in our recruitment of teachers to a degree is that Huntsville will always be able to pay more than us. Madison City will always be able to pay more than us. But we have to be close enough to a salary so we attract those teachers from our 2 competing largest organizations. And if this is sustainable, and I agree with everybody on this board, that $1,000 does not represent what a good teacher does every day. I would like to pay a whole lot more than that. But we are competing with these other systems for teachers. And as our salary grows apart, we start losing the competition for the teachers we want.
When's the last time that study has been done? I don't know if that information's been presented to the board or.
I don't think
some
it's a
kind of-
study. I think it's just more of a matter of a delta. I mean, we lost several principals recently to Huntsville City Schools because they were ready to retire, and they're within their 5-year time frame, and they wanted to make more money. And I understand that as an individual, but they were very good principals. And the same thing with teachers. I swear, I think it was Mr. Massey that did it.
That's correct.
And that's about 2017, 2018. And if you look at the rate of inflation, that delta is so small now. I'm for putting this in the salary schedule if it's sustainable. I don't have a problem delaying doing this until Mr. Smith looks at it. But I'm very much for it because you're right, $1,000 is not a lot, but it's $1,000 more than zero.
Oh, it is.
Right,
I
right.
agree with that.
And we also need to remember, this is a raise for everyone. It's not just teachers. That everyone will get a raise. Bus drivers,
Correct.
aides, everybody.
And that
There's
reduces.
very
and that re-
limited that would not, and that's
That's
because.
the contracted
they have a-
people?
Yeah, they have contracted people.
And make no bones about it, like in my district and Mr. Jones's district, Limestone County is poaching our bus drivers.
And that's the other point, is that, you know, we have approximately 2,500 employees. 1,500 of them sit on the certified side. That's 1,000. Now, you know, when I was talking with the principals at the last principals meeting, I shared with them, I was like, you know, on your salary schedule, $1,000, you know, when you disperse it over 12 months and your time, it's not a lot. But for every bus driver that's making $18,000 to go to $19,000, for every special education aide that's making $18,000 going to $19,000, for every clerical aide, for, you know, all these positions that are support jobs, that are $1,000 is a lot of money for these people. And one of the things is we cannot compete with Madison, we cannot compete with Huntsville. but we do need to stay ahead of the other county systems that are around it, because, you know, as they get closer to our salaries, we need to make sure we stay ahead of them.
And what I'm picking up from what Mr. Jones is saying is, and it sounds like we can't do this, it would be great to, like Mr. Vest said, also a 13th check. You know, $1,000 throughout 12 months is 50 to 60, maybe $70, depending on your tax bracket. If we could give it to them to hit their checking account December 10th, that might make somebody's Christmas that has not been able to afford Christmas of one lump sum. Is that illegal? Is that something that we can't do? Is there,
I'll
what?
let Ms. Thompson address that.
Can we do 13 checks
And just,
instead of 12 checks?
It's still gonna be the same amount divided by 13 instead of 12, so all of them will be smaller anyhow.
The salary schedule is set by the board, and that's what we have to go by. We cannot give one-time bonuses, one-time, it is not legal.
Y'all
But
did it,
if
you did it during COVID.
We
If
did
you-
COVID because
it
it
was
was
special
after the
circumstances.
fact. It was
Yeah.
extra services were rendered, and those were put in place prior to the payment. That was approved by the board in December, I believe, Ms. Thompson, and it was paid in May for
Yes.
the extra work they were doing during COVID. There has to be extra services rendered to do it in such a manner. You can do anything you want to with the salary schedule.
I just heard I can do anything I want to.
So if it goes
With
in,
the salary
if it
schedule.
goes into the salary schedule, why could you not set it up? Okay, so you normally get your payroll check the last day before the central office closes in December.
The last working day is
So what
in
you're
December.
saying is, you'd put in the salary schedule, the raise, but they would receive it in a lump sum.
can we do that?
Can we do that?
Why couldn't you do that?
That's not,
If they receive the raise in a lump sum in December,
No, it has to be spread over their contract.
okay.
if it's in the salary schedule, we can't do it. If we approve the salary schedule to give us,
The salary schedule is spread over 12 months. Our payroll manager is here. She may speak if she would like.
And I'm not disagreeing with any, that's all I'm saying is I think there's some different options. I'm not saying there's 20 options to look at, but I'm not ruling out an incentive pay is not against the law if there's ethical guidelines that they have to meet. Is that right or wrong?
If the
If it-
services rendered.
If
Right,
it's put
right.
in place and the services are rendered for that.
Right. So I mean, that's all I'm saying in this whole thing is, instead of right now, doing this right now, is just look at, and I 100% agree with what Mr. Cubic said about the support staff, but do we look at this, do the support staff get the exact amount, because we know their salaries and stuff, you know? I just think there's different options that we can look at to get the best rate of return, and I won't say no more to that, you know, like I said, I think the supplements is a great thing to move forward on, but I think there's just, if we took, you know, tabled this for a month and do some more research on some different ideas, let Mr. Smith, as he comes in, looks at stuff, and I'll leave it at that. So that's just, I'm just one person.
So just to clarify, Ms. O'Bannon, so there's not really a roadmap that we can take to accommodate what Mr. Jones is requesting? Is that,
There's incentives that you put in the salary schedule. They're already built in, there's supplements. But it has to be approved in the salary schedule by the board.
okay,
You have to have authorization to do such a thing. We're 12-month employees and they're paid, 240-day contracts. Everyone is paid over 12 months. Whether they're a 9-month contract is put in escrow and everybody is paid over a 12-month period. You can't change that. Now, a new employee coming in that will have a check until the end of September, they can elect to do a 13-month payment, so they'll get a check in September, am I correct?
First of September.
For that,
August.
for that first year only, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's 1 year only for new employees. There are no, the school districts, you're paid over 12 months.
And-
According to the supplements in your contract, in your salary schedule, as where, you know, and incentives, I don't have the salary schedule in front of me, but anything like that, if you're just gonna do a one-time payment, put it in like we did in COVID,
That's what I'm getting at, yes, ma'am.
That's additional duties that you have to generate, additional
above
work
the basic.
for them to get that extra money. It's not just
Right,
giving them money.
Right, I understand.
And I noticed that these COVID bonuses ceased several years ago.
It was 1 year on.
One, not just here, but other school systems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was all in that same year. And you're talking about delaying, and here's the other issue with delaying, is that our payroll department has to roll everybody over in the month of June. So without having a salary schedule, then they can't roll over everybody because they start getting paid the new contracts on July 1. That's why we always struggle with whenever our legislation has a late year for when they close out the legislative session, we get the budget always at the end. We like when they start in February because it gives us time to work with the salary schedule. When they finish, which they just closed down this past Wednesday, then you've got to, work in a short time period.
Well, also, when you think about it, if you include in the salary schedule now, we're about ready to go on a massive hiring. We're going to start hiring lots of people about the 1st of June. And so that $1,000 closes that gap between us and our competing systems. And when somebody looks at what they pay in Huntsville City, or they pay in Madison, or Limestone County, or Jackson County, or Lincoln County, Tennessee, they'll be making decisions based on what's in that salary schedule that we approve either today or later on. And we have to pay as much as we can, but we can never pay enough for a good teacher, a good principal, a good bus driver, a good nurse. But we have to pay what we can to be competitive to get the best.
Yeah, and I won't disagree with that. My thing is, the trend in years past have been, I won't keep going, is that Madison County, of course, we know we can't compete exactly with Huntsville City, Madison City, but what we used to have here, and I feel like, talking to teachers and stuff, is they were okay with taking less money for the family type environment, knowing that they're heard and taken care of. And so that's all I'm saying. If we say the A&T money that we used to be able to, turn our general fund around to, to sustain this, where's that money? Is that gonna come from our reserve fund?
It's come from general.
And again, it goes back to, when we advocate for local units lost, that kind of stuff, and we're told that, no, you can't do that for one, have to do it for all and certain things. And that's the only thing that my concern is.
Mr. Jones, just so you know that we increased from last year's local units, we did staffing. How many more did we add this year than we did last year? We added 20 more local units this year.
Across the
So we're
entire
almost on
district.
100 local units. So we don't skimp on putting what we need to inside those schools. Those schools are the most important part of this district.
Agreed.
And we do not skimp on them at all. And our employees are fantastic employees. They are the best in the state of Alabama, and they deserve this raise.
Would not disagree with you on that they are the best. So I think if everybody knows my heart, you know where I'm coming from, and I'll leave it at that, and we can talk personally if you want to.
So we're moving to table it, or,
That's what I'd like to do, but I'm one.
so did you make a motion to table it?
I make a motion, we table it with passing the supplements that was listed in there, continue to those, and just hold off on the salary schedule again for those concerns, Mr. Smith and the other ones that I mentioned earlier.
Have a motion to table it.
Can
Okay,
they-
you either table it or you can't,
You don't get both.
you gotta
Okay.
table it or approve it.
Can
Can't change.
they table it without my recommendation?
They can table it, they can move to table it, yes. But they have to have a second to table it and a vote to table it. Or then you would call for a vote on the superintendent's recommendation. Do you have a second to table?
Mr. Brooks, can we get a 5-minute recess before we proceed?
Absolutely. So I need to make a motion for that.
You don't have to have a motion to take a recess.
Do you guys want to meet here, or do you guys want to go in another room and meet?
I just need to go to the restroom.
With you.
Yes, sir.
So you have a motion to table, so you need to sign up, you have a second.
We're back in session. I have a motion to table. Do I have a second on that? If not, I call for a vote on the superintendent's recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen, and I know our faculty and staff appreciate that very much. I recommend approval of the hearing impaired interpreter job description as submitted.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the contracts for services as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the personnel items and the addendum as submitted, including the renewal and non-renewal lists.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the principal probationary contracts as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sir, at this time, I'd like to welcome Nikisha Jones as our new Sparkman principal, Sparkman 9 principal. I'd like to welcome Amelia Evans is the new principal of Madison Crossroads Elementary School. And Ms. Collier, Whitney Collier, is our new principal for Hazel Green Elementary School, and she's with us this evening. We're happy to join our team and our family here at Madison County Schools.
Congratulations. I look forward to working with you. Do you want to introduce your family?
I have my husband, Cordelia Collier, and my daughter Caroline, who is at LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Ms. Collier was with us, and she is coming home, where she belongs. I recommend approval of the assistant principal probationary contract as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I recommend approval of the supplemental contracts as submitted.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that concludes our board meeting, but,
Have something for the good of the board.
well, hold on just a second. Oh, that's all I was gonna say. Do I have
I think
anything?
you guys should take one, pass one back. I mean, what I said, I've been talking to people, so I want everybody to understand something, and this is regards high school. And high school's an important part. One of the things that I found by talking to my 25 friends, and I promised Mr. Cubic that I would be objective, and I intend to be, is that a lot of people are doing standardized learning or grading early. Now, I want everybody to take a look at pacing guide. This is what you're supposed to teach every day. And we've had pacing guides ever since I started teaching math here in 1997. Mr. Cubic probably used the same one as me. And you notice that there's 79 days. And this is our standards. There you go. And I want everybody to take a look at green. We spend 79 days on a block schedule teaching green. That is all the state standards. If you look to the right of green, you see the standards that we do not teach. Now, I'm an old math teacher, and I've actually taught this course one time. The stuff in pink doesn't bother me. The other stuff does. We have to teach the majority of the state course of study. That is a requirement. I'm not saying the people who made this did this meanly, and the teachers, two teachers that talked to me about this, and I asked them bluntly, I said, can you complete more of the course of study if you taught using the different method? And their answer was yes. I bring this to everybody's attention with an understanding this has very little to do with K-3 instruction, which we're going to be discussing in the next 2 years. But the course of study has to be taught.
I'm sorry that I have to interrupt. That is untrue.
Okay.
The essential standards are the standards that must be taught to mastery. All standards
Okay.
The supporting standards are intended to be either introduced or reinforced.
I have two issues, Ms. Bass. I believe these two teachers. And number two, and I believe you too, but if we are talking about allowing K-3 to do this, and it's already happening at the high school level. And we need to make sure that all course of studies are both taught, evaluated, mastered, and retained. And we can figure this out with time.
Anybody else have anything for you, Gordon?
Yeah. If you're a teacher and you're a bus driver, you just got $2,000 tonight.
Yes, that's true.
That's phenomenal. I wish more teachers would do that. It'd add to their retirement. So I guess that's probably a good note to end on. Yeah.
I'll,
Motion.
Motion.